In this video we're going to look at how to export your contacts. You can export your contacts from the contact screen, and using the I want to menu, simply come down to export matching contacts. Now let me cover what export the matching contacts actually means to you and the flexibility that it gives you. arpReach allows you to filter your whole contact list. So with contacts, when you click show list without any filters, your whole contact list, if you've got tens of thousands of contacts, will appear screen by screen, and it allows you to filter your contacts by any one of the preset filters, and you can adapt the preset filters by creating segments or tags that will be covered in other videos. To show you this process in action, currently there is no filter selected, but if we come down to the has tag and click it, arpReach has instantly reduced the number of contacts and just presented in a list ready for exporting the contacts that have got no tags at all. Now if you click on the secondary drop down that will come up for tag and segment and some of the others, if we were to click on the bought shoes, we can see that this filters the list down specifically to all of the contacts that have the tag, in this case bought shoes. So we started from a long list and we've ended up with 2. And for ease of exporting, you would then simply click on export matching contacts, which brings up a different screen, and at this point we have the fields and the options that are available to you. Now depending on how defined your contact list is and if you've got custom fields, you have the ability to export every single standard field, as you can see here, plus every single custom field, or you can pre-select the important elements for what you might want to reuse that data for. So if you're taking a backup of a certain segment of your database and you want all of the detail and all of the fields, you can do just that. But if you just want to, for example, export the email address and the first name, click on deselect all and then just check in the box for the fields that you want to export. So for example here, I'm going to click on we want the email address and the first name, and in the options are to add quotes around the fields, and what this means is that if you've got addresses with commas in them, you might want to wrap quotes around that in a CSV and use the quote marks to identify text. But generally I tend to remove the quotes around fields. I think the thing to point out here is that most of the time you won't want quotes around the fields, but you won't know until you come to reuse the data that you've exported. And the process is simple and quick enough that you can do this. And the field delimiter, we allow you to export either a comma delimited field, which means that every field is separated by a comma, or a tab. And again, the end use of the export that you're going to create now, that will determine whether you have comma or tab. But in most circumstances, a comma delimited export will be fine. So once you've selected the standard fields and custom fields that you want to export, click on continue and click on start export, and in the background arpReach will process all of your contacts. This has happened very quickly because we're just looking at two records. If you are, sort of looking at 100,000 records, 200,000 records, depending on the processing power of your server, that could take quite some time. So once it's processed, it will come up with the download file link here. Simply click on the file where you want to download that to, and then save the file. By default, all exports, irrespective of the tag that you've selected, will be called export.csv if you've selected the comma separated value. So you can rename that to tag and whatever it was that you selected, just so that when you store your downloads you have a better understanding of what it is. And as another tip, what I tend to do is put the date in format as well, depending on your particular use where you are. If you decide to save the date, you might do it as day, month, year, or you can just make it in simple English, and you can see there that this is on the 20th of December 2017. Click save, and down in the bottom in this browser it tells you that the download has completed. And that's how simple it is to export all of your contacts or just a few of your contacts based on your filter requirements.